I don't like disorder in my room.
You stay down there, the spotless. Hand over the ice pick.
What ice pick, man? Ain't got no ice pick.
All right, hand over the ice pick, please.
With me, and you will suffer my wrath.
The story begins near the Florida Keys. A group of mercenaries is withdrawing from a mission. They lose 3 important members, but the mission is a success. Afterward, they gather at their base and watch the news. The news reporter states that the U.S. has denied any involvement in the mission, which makes the team very angry. This means the Army has disowned all surviving members and shredded their files. The team takes the news badly because they are out of jobs and still have a mortgage to pay. However, their leader, Jonathan,
Just wait. Something will come along.
Next, the scene shifts to Miami, 3 days later, where a school fight breaks out. The fight seems one-sided as a group of students gang up and beat a student named Jerome. The teachers, Jane and Sherman, run into the scene to break up the fight. Sherman tries to help Jerome, but Jerome refuses.
Off of me, man. I need your help, dude.
After breaking up the fight, Jane tries to talk to a student named Juan, who is often behind such incidents.
Yeah, well, you're no person in try, so back the because if you don't.
Then Jane gets angry and takes the case to the principal, Rolle, with Sherman. Rolle tells her he cannot give a student the boot for a simple threat. Jane, who is known for not giving up on her students and always trying to help them.
But this guy is dangerous. The kids are scared of him.
But I can't boot him out without definite proof of wrongdoing.
You want proof? I'll get you proof.
After leaving the school, Jane sees her car surrounded by Juan and his gang. They call her names and disrespect her. Juan tells her that she can't do anything to him because he knows she just came out of the principal's office. When Jane tries to get in her car, she sees that they have covered it with glue, making it very hard for her to enter. After struggling, she finally manages to open the door and quickly gets inside as the gang tries to attack her. She drives away and...
See you later, heads.
Later, Jane arrives at her building and parks her car. However, the building is unusually quiet and dark. She feels suspicious and cautiously enters the elevator. Suddenly, a man tries to strangle her. She is shocked, but then she realizes it is her boyfriend, Jonathan.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. My students are trying to kill me. How are you?
Later, Jane and Jonathan have a pleasant evening and catch up.
What are you doing here anyway? Aren't you supposed to be off on some secret mission?
Jonathan tells her that they have retired him and he no longer has a job. The next morning, Jonathan gets a call from his friend Joey.
Shale, Joey, got a gig, man. Meet me at 10 at the strip joint Lickety Split.
When the time comes, Jonathan meets Joey at a nightclub. Joey tells him that a lawyer is looking for a trained crew, but he doesn't say why. Jonathan expresses concern, fearing drugs might be involved. Joey reassures him, saying that no drugs are involved and that the lawyer just wants him to meet the man. The next day, Jonathan heads to meet the client, Matt, and finds another man named John there as well, who is also interested in the job. John has a short video where he describes his action-filled life in missions.
Why don't you stay and watch Mr. Shale's reel?
I don't have a reel.
John then leaves Matt's place, leaving Jonathan with Matt. Matt explains the job to Jonathan,
My client runs a large import business dealing in South American goods.
and that he wants Jonathan's team to protect these goods for his client, Johnny.
Our competitors, certain government agencies.
Jonathan immediately realizes that Matt is talking about drugs, and the other competitors are just other drug dealers.
You don't want soldiers, you want killers.
And his team is not the right group for him. Next, Matt tries to convince him, but Jonathan responds with violence, holding Matt's neck and telling him he doesn't want in. Outside, Jonathan scolds Joey, who is waiting outside the house. Joey tries to defend the offer.
That's all that's out there. What am I supposed to do? At least it's a job.
Later, Jonathan goes to Jane's house, but learns that she has gone for a jog. Jonathan feels like Jane might be in trouble because she told him the students want her dead. Meanwhile, Jane is jogging near the beach, and everything seems peaceful. Suddenly, a man named Bull hits her leg with a stick, causing her to fall to the ground. Just as the man tries to beat her up, Jonathan intervenes and hits the man. The two exchange punches, but the man finally runs away when he sees people gathering. Next, Jonathan takes Jane to the hospital where she receives treatment. As soon as Jane feels better, she tries to get up and leave.
Oh, but it's just for a couple days. Come on, your leg's busted, you can't walk.
Jane then says that the man must have been hired by Juan, and she admits she is scared of him. Jonathan reassures her that he will help her, but
No, you'll go drop a grenade on him or something.
He did it, he deserves it.
No, I don't
Hey,
want
hey.
to get into it.
Jane tries to get up again, but falls to the ground. Jonathan helps her back to bed and asks her to stay there. Jane finally gives in and asks him to call her friend Michael and ask him to substitute for her. She also asks him to call a woman named Arlene, who works in admissions, and tell her that she won't be there for a while. Next, Jonathan calls Michael.
I'm booked this week. You get somebody to fill in till next week?
Jonathan heads back to Jane's room to give her the news but finds her peacefully sleeping. As he gently strokes her hair, he gets an idea. If it works, he can protect Jane forever from those students. He decides to go to the school himself as a substitute teacher and teach those kids a lesson. He then calls his team.
So I need a teaching certificate. Give me some good academic credentials. I mean good ones. Name, Smith. James Smith.
A few days later, Jonathan dresses up decently as a teacher and heads to the school. There, he meets with Rolle.
My name's Smith, I'm her substitute.
Rolle directs him to Jane's class and wishes him good luck. Jonathan heads to the class and is shocked by the mess. He introduces himself to the class and writes his name on the board. And one even throws a can at him. Jonathan continues with the attendance, calling each student's name one by one, but every time he says a name, the student insults him. When he reaches Juan's name, he realizes this is the student Jane warned him about. After a tough day, Jonathan heads to the teacher's lounge where he meets Sherman and the school librarian, Hannah.
Life is too short to mess with a K.O.D.
Jonathan asks what that means.
The Kings of Destruction are the top gang in the school.
Jonathan asks if there is a connection between Jane and the gang, and Sherman confirms that everything is linked to the K.O.D. Sherman tells Jonathan that Juan is the leader of the gang, and he threatened Jane because she tried to get him transferred. Hannah then speaks up, blaming Rolle for Juan still being in school. However, Sherman defends Rolle, explaining that Rolle was a cop and follows a simple approach. No evidence, no case, no action. Sherman adds that when Rolle was a cop, he worked in the gang unit.
I'm looking for Juan Lacus's file, and the secretary said that you had it.
Well, the file is under review at the moment, Mr.
How is it that a cop becomes a high school principal?
Rolle explains that during his time as a cop, it wasn't easy being a black cop in Miami, especially when riots and gangs were destroying neighborhoods. To better his situation, he took night classes, earned his diploma, and later his master's degree, which eventually led to him becoming a principal.
And running for city council, I hear.
As he speaks, Jonathan notices Rolle's expensive suit and watches, wondering how a principal can afford such things.
And what's your background, Mrs. Smith?
Oh, standard liberal arts education.
And became a government bureaucratic worker.
One of those scars in the halls of academia.
Jonathan replies that the nuns were brutal to him when he was in 8th grade.
About those files, I really can't issue them to a temporary employee. You better get back to work.
However, before Jonathan leaves the office,
Doesn't it make you nervous wearing a watch like that around here?
This watch was a gift from the Junior League.
the next day, Jonathan meets with his team and tells them about his new undercover job at the high school. One of the team members, Holland, gets very angry and...
You mind telling me what's wrong with this picture, man? Now you want us to go do a job at a high school on deferment. High school, man. Cuba whips you out. You lost your mind and now you lost your...
After Holland leaves, Jonathan explains that the school is filled with students driving expensive cars and carrying pagers, which were expensive at the time. He believes there is some drug money involved, and he wants to figure out who is behind it. The next day, the team sneaks into the school and installs cameras to monitor the K.O.D's movements. When Jonathan heads to school, the class is as messy as ever, and he works to calm them down.
Today, we're gonna talk about Vietnam.
But one student named Tay, who is a member of the K.O.D., throws a can at him.
You a dumb
I don't like disorder in my room.
Stay down there, the spotless. Hand over the ice pick.
What ice pick, man? Ain't got no ice pick.
All right, hand over the ice pick, please.
With me, and you will suffer my wrath.
Can I go to the nurse's office?
Jonathan allows Rodriguez and Tay to go to the nurse's office and continues teaching. Meanwhile, Rolle is in the nurse's room, telling a reporter how the new nursery helps mothers attend school. However, the nurse's room is disturbed when Rodriguez and Tay arrive, saying they plan to file a lawsuit against Jonathan. Rolle, thinking the classroom is in chaos, rushes to the class with his security. But when he reaches the room, he finds it peaceful, with interactive learning and Jonathan teaching about Vietnam. After the students leave, Jonathan opens his computer, which is hidden in his suitcase, and watches the camera system they installed. When he sees Rolle coming to his class, he quickly shuts the computer. Rolle enters the room and is furious with Jonathan's actions. Rolle tells Jonathan that he will fire him, but Jonathan responds that he can't do that without giving him 2 weeks' notice. Rolle agrees to give him 2 weeks, and Jonathan assures him that is all he needs. Later, Rolle goes through Jonathan's files because Jonathan's actions have been too smooth, but he can't find any flaws in the records. Meanwhile, Jonathan and his team are listening to Rolle's phone call with a device they planted earlier. The team is proud of their work, but jokes that Jonathan might want to continue teaching even after his mission. The next day, Jonathan helps Jane out of the hospital and drives her home. Jane begins reading through the pile of letters she has received, but breaks down in tears when she reads a letter from her student, Lisa.
Hey, Miss H, what's with you? You were the only teacher I had who really cared about me.
Jonathan calms her down, but soon they get into an argument. In the morning, the whole school notices and respects Jonathan. However, Juan and his gang arrive late, so Jonathan orders Juan to write,
You want me to do I'm sorry 10 times on the blackboard?
No, you're gonna write it 100 times.
Juan is hesitant at first, but then complies. As Juan writes, Jonathan connects with Jerome and the other students.
You know what your name means in Apache?
Nah, what do you mean?
Geronimo. Yeah, I belong to a group called the Dragons, but they were the biggest, baddest black group of the 50s. I was 12 years old when I became a junior dragon. How many of you in here have kids? How many of you want them to be in gangs? Well, I don't want to see you kids get hurt or get busted, but I'd like to see all of you survive.
After the class is over, Rolle comes to the class and tells Jonathan to meet him at his office after the faculty meeting. Then Rolle goes to the bathroom and meets with Juan, telling him to kill Jonathan after the faculty meeting. However, Jonathan is watching this on his computer and realizes that Rolle is involved with the K.O.D. Next, Jonathan wears his bulletproof vest and prepares for what is coming. Meanwhile, Juan and his gang gear up and wait for Jonathan to come out. Then Jonathan intentionally walks out and runs back inside as soon as he notices the gang has seen him. Juan and his gang quickly follow him inside, and Rolle sends his security guard to help the gang if needed. Next, Jonathan hides in the library just before Juan and his gang arrive. As they spread out to search for him, Jonathan surprises one of them, holding him at gunpoint.
Put your weapons in the little cart. Look, I want you to roll this into your office.
Wanting to teach them a lesson, Jonathan doesn't stop there. He plays them and methodically takes them down one by one. He fights them off individually and throws each of them out of the library window. From his office, Rolle hears the commotion and mistakenly believes Jonathan is the one being attacked. Meanwhile, one gang member manages to grab Jonathan's gun and shoots him. Jonathan falls and Juan flees the scene, leaving another gang member behind to finish off Hannah. However, Jonathan survives, protected by his bulletproof vest. He rises and throws the remaining attacker out of the window as well. Humiliated and with their plan ruined, Juan and the rest of the gang are forced to retreat and leave the school. After it's all over, Jonathan prepares to leave and runs into Rolle in the hallway. Meanwhile, Sherman visits Jane at her house and tells her how wonderful the new substitute teacher is. However, he doesn't know that the new substitute teacher is Jonathan under the name Mr. Smith. But when he sees a picture of them together, everything becomes clear.
I don't know, man. I say something's going on, man. There ain't no teacher. It can't be.
Just do what you're supposed to do, and don't call me here again.
But little does he know, Joey has tapped into their phone and is listening to them. Joey follows Juan and the other gang members as they switch cars and head into a fruit store. Joey informs this to Jonathan, who is on his way to Jane's home. Later, when Jonathan reaches home, Jane tells him she knows his secret identity after Sherman visited her.
Can I explain?
Go ahead.
Meanwhile, Joey closely follows the gang's movements and realizes that a large drug deal is about to take place tonight, so he informs Jonathan. Jonathan immediately arrives at the location, and they hide to watch what is happening.
It's owned by an Indian named John and Glade. You heard of him?
Yeah, the drug dealer.
And it seems the K.O.D. is working for him. As they watch, the man who mugged Jane, Bull, and another guy sell cocaine to some men on a boat. Jonathan and Joey split up to take down both parties and successfully apprehend them. However, Holland arrives at the scene and takes Jonathan's gun away, allowing Jonathan to be attacked while the other guy runs away. Jonathan fights with Bull while Holland watches. After a while, Holland kills Bull, as he never really meant to hurt Jonathan. Jonathan then takes the money and throws the drugs into the ocean. Now Jonathan's team is complete, and they can focus on taking down Rolle, the K.O.D, and the drug dealer Johnny. The next day, Rolle watches the news about a drug deal gone wrong and the bodies found near the river. Instantly, he gets a call from Johnny, who is angry because he lost $500,000 the previous night. Johnny tragically kills the man who ran away.
Hear what happens to the guy responsible if I don't get my money back.
Rolle, furious about the events of the previous night, heads to school and asks Juan if he has anything to do with it. Their conversation is cut short when Jonathan announces that
Reclamation generously donated some equipment to Columbus High School.
to the high school and free pizza for everyone.
You don't teach history anymore, Smith. You are history.
However, Jonathan remains unfazed and walks outside. There he meets Sherman, who now knows about his true identity.
I'm the one that's still going to be here after you leave. There's a problem, I want to help.
Jonathan then tells Sherman about Rolle. Meanwhile, Rolle calls Johnny and tells him he knows who took the money and reports Jonathan to him. That night, Jonathan and Jane spend some quality time together after everything they have been through. After some time, some people are following Jonathan as he returns home from school. They quickly pull up to his side and shoot at him. Jonathan loses control of the car and crashes into a house. The men then call Rolle and inform him that they have killed Jonathan. Meanwhile, Sherman and Lisa are leaving the school late at night, but notice all the doors are locked. They decide to use the back door and head to the basement, where they see Rolle and all members of the K.O.D. unloading drugs from the school bus and storing it in an underground storage area inside the school. Sherman, who had always defended Rolle, realizes he has been wrong all along, and both of them flee the area. However, Rolle hears some noise and sends Juan and his gang after them. Sherman and Lisa run for a while, but they soon realize they can't escape the gang.
Tell Smith, tell him everything, okay?
And runs to draw the attention of the gang. However, Sherman is caught in the gym, and there is no way to run. Rolle then tells him,
Shame you have to end it this way, crawling like a worm. I look at you and you know what I see? I see me when I was young and stupid. I see me when I was soft. And that just don't cut it.
Rolle takes a gun from Juan and kills Sherman in front of everyone. The next day, Rolle prepares a funeral for both Sherman and Jonathan inside the school. However, Jonathan arrives at the school and...
Who died?
You did, sir.
Smith.
Inside the school, Jerome tells Jonathan that Rolle told everyone he died, and Sherman's body was also found this morning. Meanwhile, Rolle and Juan are very confused.
Look, Ivy, there's not a cowboys working for the mob. We need to find out which.
How did he become Esco's substitute?
Maybe you should ask her.
Meanwhile, Jonathan heads to Rolle's office and learns that Rolle is not there, and that he is free until he meets a man named Matt later. When Jonathan hears Matt's name, he quickly rushes there because he remembers that Matt is the lawyer who contacted him some time ago. Before leaving, Jonathan tells Jerome to take over the class and leaves. Next, Jerome heads to the classroom and starts bossing the students around. When Lisa arrives late, he gives her one demerit, but Lisa tells him she needs to see Jonathan for something important. Meanwhile, Jonathan finds Matt at a sports center and walks up to him.
Tell me about Rolle and Johnny Glades.
Who? I never heard of them.
Jonathan doesn't believe him and starts threatening him.
And there's a phone. I'll call the police.
But Jonathan doesn't stop. When Matt tries to fight back, Jonathan chases him and beats him to a pulp. On the ground, Matt gives up and admits that he was asked to hire guards for a shipment. He also says that Rolle worked with Johnny when he was a cop and later helped move drugs through the school using the K.O.D. Jonathan tells him to flee the country immediately or else he will kill him. Next, Jerome and Lisa head to Jane's place looking for their substitute teacher. Meanwhile, Jonathan gets a strange message from Jane.
I've got those papers graded if you could drop by and pick them up.
What makes it even stranger is that she addressed him by his alias name, Mr. Smith. Jonathan immediately realizes Jane is in trouble and gears up. Meanwhile, Juan and his gang are inside Jane's house holding Jane, Jerome, and Lisa hostage. The door rings and Jonathan is behind the door.
Who is it?
Shale.
And the gang doesn't recognize his voice. Jonathan tells Jane over the door phone that he is here to deliver a package, and Juan tells her to allow him to come up, claiming the package is from Mr. Smith. When the door opens, Jonathan quickly shoots one of them, but he is outnumbered and they pin him to the ground, beating him up.
Who is he?
He's a merc.
Meanwhile, Matt heads to Johnny and Rolle and tells them about Jonathan. Then Juan calls Johnny and tells him that Jonathan is a mercenary.
I don't care who he is. When we hang up, kill him.
After hanging up, the gang prepares to kill Jonathan. However, Jane's landlady knocks on the door.
Get rid of all she does to you.
As she sends her away, Jonathan takes the opportunity to take out all the gang members with his gun. But just as he does, Juan holds a gun to Jane and demands Jonathan put his gun down. Just as Juan is about to shoot, Jerome picks up a gun and shoots Juan, killing him. Next, Lisa tells Jonathan about the underground storage of cocaine and how Rolle and the K.O.D. used to operate. She also tells him that they are the ones responsible for Sherman's death. After this, Jonathan decides to take all the drugs from the school and put an end to Rolle's and Johnny's rule. Jonathan tells Jane that there is a chance he might not return.
If anything happens to me, I want you to have this place.
After that, Rolle and Johnny step outside the fruit store, only to find the dead bodies of Juan and the gang inside a car. Then a phone rings from the car.
He says he's seen Shale and some other guys going into the school.
Meanwhile, Jonathan and Holland are removing the drugs from the underground storage, while the rest of the team, Ray, Joey, and Wellman, are on the lookout. Then, Rolle, Johnny, and his men arrive at the school and overwhelm them. The school, which was meant to be a learning ground, now turns into a battleground. Gunshots, explosions, and hand-to-hand combat erupt as members from both sides lose their lives. Jonathan loses his teammates Ray and Wellman in the battle, and Joey is injured. However, Holland manages to get Johnny at gunpoint in the basement and waits for Jonathan to arrive. Just then, Rolle comes out of nowhere and shoots Holland, freeing Johnny.
Shale, watch out, it's a trap.
Jonathan quickly turns off the lights, catching Johnny and Rolle, who were waiting to ambush him. He orders them to drop their guns, but Johnny attacks him, and a fight breaks out. The match is even, but Johnny shoots Jonathan from behind. Holland, despite his injuries, comes to the rescue and shoots Johnny before succumbing to his own wounds. After confirming Holland's death, Jonathan searches for Rolle, and the two resume their brutal fight. After exchanging several heavy blows, Rolle gains the upper hand and holds Jonathan at gunpoint.
You're a mercenary, you're in it for the money like everybody else. If it's not about the money, what the hell else is there?
I'd try to explain it to you, Claude, but there's some things that just can't be taught.
After that, Jonathan delivers a series of deadly blows to Rolle and kills him on the spot. With Rolle and Johnny dead and the K.O.D. gone, Jonathan realizes his work is done and crawls outside. There he meets Joey, who is also injured. With many of their team members dead, Joey and Jonathan ensure that the school is once more a safe place for students to learn and grow.